So we're back with the sugar diet, weighed in at 197.8, which isn't bad. It's actually I had a pretty heavy week for my work week, work trip last week. Food wise, I mean it was free, pretty much buffet style, kind of similar to like a Golden Corral. I mean they had the treats out there, any crappy food you wanted. So it's pretty hard to stay strict when you're given free food and it's pretty much just treat city, like sugar free, not sugar free, sugar treats with a ton of fat in them, like cookies and everything. And if it's free, I mean, hey, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to lose that opportunity. But now that I'm back home, I'm going to stay strict to the sugar diet. But I wanted to go over a few things because Cole Robinson was on Mark Bell's podcast talking about the sugar diet. And I think Cole had mentioned it on his own how people are taking it, modifying it, and making it into their own thing. And that's kind of confusing people and messing with people's results. So the sugar diet at its very basis would just be wet fruit, sort of things like honey, canned fruit, fruit juice, candy. I don't even like saying candy. I just don't think candy is going to help anybody. Truly, I don't think candy is going to help people lose weight who are just starting out. I think if you want to use candy as like a pre-workout, that's great. But again, it's a part of it, so you can have it. You can on like a sugar fast day. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And people are saying, well, that's a fruitarian style diet, and it is, but it's not. If you deem yourself a vegan, a carnivore, a fruitarian, every single day that's your diet, right? So every single day you're eating fruit, 365 days a year. If you're carnivore only diet, meat, eggs, whatever, 365 days a year. If you want to call it fruitarian, sure, but it's like fruitarian for a day, right? You're sugar fasting for a day, or 2 days, or 3 days, or 4 days, or as many as days as you want, as long as you're losing weight, right? Cole's just sort of promoting it more as a tool mixed in with protein days where you have I wouldn't say high protein, but protein and vegetables, right? And then you throw in sugar fast days to kick in that energy, and then you can keep losing weight while still having energy. So that's basically what it is. I don't know what other people are doing. Maybe they're just doing a high carb, moderate protein, zero fat diet. I don't know. But that's pretty much what the sugar diet or sugar fasting tool protocol is. That comes into the next subject of calories. People, I don't, calories exist, calories matter, and they make a big difference in how you lose weight. I don't know why people like don't think that calories matter. I think people have trouble comprehending calories when people are confusing them with, they're like, well, it's the quality of the food that matters, it's not the calories. That is true, but if you take the same calories of Twinkies and the same calories of ribeye, which calculating ribeye calories versus Twinkies would be very hard to get it 1-to-1 exact to Twinkies, whatever. You're going to lose the same amount of weight. You're going to lose the same amount of weight, 100%. It might be a little bit different on the ribeye only diet versus a Twinkie diet. It might be a little bit different, but that difference isn't going to be anything noticeable. Now, how you feel is a big difference. You might feel terrible eating only Twinkies for a month straight. I agree with that 100%. If you don't want to have the calorie agreement that calories matter, let's have the agreement that different food sources can dictate heavily how you feel, 100%, okay? And that can affect your adherence to a diet. So if you have bacon and eggs or some sort of meat and eggs every day, okay, so you're having meat and eggs every single day, and you can adhere to that for months on months, and you keep dropping weight, that's perfect. If you can keep eating Twinkies, which is ridiculous even saying, but you can keep losing weight and dropping weight, that's absolutely perfect. Are your health markers going to be different? Sure. But if it works for you, then it works for you. The difference between all these diets, and people sort of get like, they have like a sycophant mentality and like they kind of zealot cult-like mentality, like us versus them, our diet versus your diet, which is stupid. It's silly. Is that going back to how you feel greatly affects your adherence. So on the sugar diet, you're going to have probably great adherence because you're going to feel good because you have energy in a caloric deficit. You're going to have decent energy in a caloric deficit. So Why is that? You have zero protein and zero fat. It's straight carbs, and your body is just taking those carbs, digesting them into energy. You're more active, and you're able to lose weight even faster while in a deficit from the food and a deficit from the energy that you expend. I don't think anybody should do this diet, the sugar diet, without working out. I don't think you should sit on your couch and just eat honey all day without working out at all. You should, if it's hard or challenging for you, find any way you can to start off to be active for 30 minutes a day, 20 to 30 minutes a day. I'm not telling you to go run for 20 minutes, that's stupid, or go sprint for 30 minutes a day, that's stupid. Something you can do for 20 to 30 minutes a day, getting started into cardio and just staying at it while you're doing this diet, and your weight will just fly off of you. The best thing for people to do, and if you're heavy, it's going to be challenging. I know for a fact it's going to be challenging if you're heavy. I have people in my family who have back problems, and walking for them is hard, especially if you have weight. Find something seated like a bike and just move your legs on them for 20 to 30 minutes, but do it every day. Do it every day. Commit to that. Commit to that as much as you're going to commit to the diet, because those will go hand in hand in losing weight. And then once you get there to a certain weight, if you want to start weightlifting, you can do that as well. I would probably do that from the get-go as well, weightlifting, to keep muscle and add on muscle to you, especially if you're new to lifting. But I would do that. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't just sit there and expect this diet to work without doing any sort of cardio or anything like that. I think you're wasting potential. You're wasting the potential of the diet, because you have all this energy. You might as well use it and get more active with it. Okay. So that would be the calorie argument there, right? Don't count calories. Don't worry about it. Just make sure your scale's dropping, okay? And that goes into the argument of starch, right? Potatoes. I just had one. It's going to be my pre-workout. Had some salt with it for the gym. People, like Cole said, people aren't losing weight when they're eating starches. The reason I think is because people don't realize how many calories are in starches. This right here is probably 130 calories maybe, which for a potato, that's not a lot. A potato is probably the best starch you can eat calorie-wise. But if you eat other starches like oatmeal or white rice or any kind of rice, those are just two staples in my diet. I don't really eat them too much anymore. You might not be losing weight with that. And the reason is you don't realize how calorically dense they are compared to the foods I listed in the sugar diet. Now, this is calorically dense, right? But if you're eating fruit, okay, an apple versus a potato, the apple has way less calories. Apple versus white rice, the apple has way less calories. Apple versus any starch, for the most part, way less calories. Okay, you want to take it even harder, watermelon versus any starch. Watermelon has way less calories than apples do, and way less calories than any starch. So if you're stalling, find a fruit that you like just as much as that starch and eat that, okay? And then the weight will just continue dropping, all right? It is a matter of calories in versus calories out, but don't think that way. Just think about it as food choices at this point, all right? Because of the caloric density of starches. Now, if you absolutely crave a starch, which for me, I don't ever really crave them. I don't really care for them. They taste good with salt, and you put a little bit of sugar, like barbecue sauce or something, they're good. But if that's, something you're craving, maybe just do a starch only day. A starch only day. So don't add in any fruit or anything like that. Just eat starch the whole day. So get that craving out of your system. You want to eat potatoes, have it for the whole day. Just stick to it the whole day. You want white rice, have white rice for the whole day. Have beans for the whole day. Beans and white rice, okay? And then immediately after, the next day, you go into that sugar diet. You go into that sugar fast, okay? And then if you want to add in meat and vegetables one day, after that, you can. But you just have to know that calories matter. It's not magic, right? I think that's kind of what people see this sugar diet, this carnivore diet, and it's like a light bulb goes on, and they're like, oh, finally, we've reached the point where calories don't matter. No, unfortunately, they still do matter. It's just these different diets make you feel different, but the weight loss is going to be pretty darn close to the same. Pretty darn close to the same when the calories are on a even basis. Okay, so don't get hung up on that. Just realize that food choices matter when you're losing weight. They matter 100%, And if you want to feel satisfied, you might have to switch out some foods that have different caloric levels to reach your weight loss goal. Okay, so that's why Cole just says, you know, throw out the starches, throw out this. He doesn't really explain it. I've watched a bunch of his lives. He doesn't really explain it why. I mean, that's the only reason. The starches are more calorically dense. Okay, that's the whole reason. I touched on pretty much everything. These are just examples. So starch right here, potato. This apple pie filling from Walmart. This right here would be a hard hitting sugar because it has 700 calories in here. But this is a decent amount of food. All right, this is a bunch of apples in here cut up with syrup, so it's a heavy syrup too, and it's straight carbs. You can see on the back. You can't really see. It's not really focusing. But the carbohydrate, 24 grams per serving, and there's 7 servings in here. All right, so this would be a great thing if you were going to work, didn't want to have a breakfast. Just take one of these with you, pop it open, and you got all those hard-hitting sugars right here. You could do the same thing with honey, but there's nothing in honey. Like there's no like fruit or anything. So maybe get some sort of fruit you want, pour some honey on it, and then you can get the same result as you would with this, because this is essentially straight sugar syrup mixed with apples, and this is just a different sorts of like a straight sugar syrup you can mix with some sort of fruit to help you on your sugar fasting days. But I'm interested in everybody's comments on what they think, what the results have been. I know if I cut out all fat, I will lose weight 100% just because of how active I am with my step count wise. I mean, I get multiple miles, over 5 miles every day. So I'm not running 5 miles every day. I'm walking. I'm walking about 5 miles every day. But if you have that activity, you're going to continue to lose weight and you're going to continue to drop. The only difference is on the sugar diet, you will feel good because you have the energy to continue doing it. I did the same thing on the carnivore diet, and I could tell you by the end of almost a month mark, my legs felt like they were going to fall off. I had lost weight before using a high carb, low to moderate protein approach, and I never ever felt like that. I felt weaker in the gym, yes, 100%. I felt like I couldn't do all the volume I could do before in the gym, 100%. But I did not feel like my legs were about to fall off. I did not feel super terrible. So anybody commenting on that, just leave any questions, anything you want to debate. Love to go over it. And good luck with everybody's weight loss goals.